Good morning. We're going to be continuing with work on narratives or story writing. You've had a go at sort of adding to the story of Skellig. Now you're going to get another chance to be creative in your story writing. This time the story's all yours. We have got an idea for how to frame the story. And it's based on some of the biggest books of all time, really, and the most popular stories. And that's of children being locked away, only to discover some kind of escape route to a magical or fantastic land. Okay, so this is perfect for the moment where you're in lockdown, you're stuck at home, and actually you get the opportunity to use your imaginations to take yourself to somewhere amazing. We're going to produce this story over the course of the next 5 days. Okay, so that's quite a long time to write in. Today we will be planning it, and then we will have four distinct sections that we'll be writing. Okay, there is freedom within this too, but what we want to avoid is children thinking, "Oh yes, I know what I'm doing," and writing it in one day, and then discovering that none of it is actually of a high enough quality. You've got plenty of time to do this in, and it's actually up to you to make sure that each section is of a very high quality and that you use your time appropriately. So we've got this idea of escaping, and I use the examples of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where the children escape from the housekeeper and the rain, keeping themselves inside, and go through the wardrobe into the magical land of Narnia. Or we have something like Alice in Wonderland, where she falls through the rabbit hole and actually is sort of transported again into a sort of fantastic land. So on our plans, I have attached to the email a planning sheet. I've done my own little plan here. It's very basic. It basically gives you space for your ideas. But part one of this is going to be setting the scene. So in that section, you need to say who the main character is. I would suggest that you think about making the main character yourself or someone you know around your age. Usually we write at our best when we're writing about something we know about. Obviously, you know about children your age. You need to think about the reason to find the portal to the other world. It could be something that's always there, you've just never had a reason to find it. So things like a game of hide and seek, or perhaps you are in a house full of siblings who are screaming and shouting, and you need somewhere quiet to do your work, and you find yourself climbing into a cupboard, a bit like one of the adverts on TV at the moment where a lady climbs into a cupboard. And from there, maybe you discover how to get to this magical land. But there's got to be some kind of reason for it, some kind of reason why you find it now and you've never found it before. You can also think about how you're going to go through. In Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, going through the wardrobe, it land, it was a bit different in that she actually sort of falls through the rabbit hole and falls for a long time, and sort of magical kind of porthole things going on. So you're going to need to decide all those bits for your setting the scene section. Then you're going to need to think about describing the fantasy land. Now, descriptive scenes are all about painting a picture in the mind, and so this is where your use of words really comes in, where your vocabulary comes in. So think about either using a thesaurus if you've got a thesaurus in your home, or using a computer. If you right click on a word, on in for example Word, it will offer you synonyms of that word. So click on the synonyms and it will give you some alternatives, and you might find some better words to use. But you need to be thinking about adjectives to describe things. You're going to need to think about prepositions, which tell us where things were. So you might end up with sentences like, the shimmering turquoise waters glistened beneath the golden sun. So in there we have adjectives with shimmering and turquoise. Glistened as a verb, but it's not the first verb I thought of. I first thought of sparkled, I then changed it to glistened. Then beneath is a preposition, it's telling us where it is in conjunction to somewhere else. And then the golden sun. So again, we've got an adjective and a noun in there. So you do need to think about different word types when you're describing scenes, trying to paint that picture, and to be honest, try to make your fantasy land sound as exciting as it possibly can be. You may also find that your fantasy land needs another person or people in it. And that leads us on to our next section, which is stories are not very interesting if everything goes entirely smoothly and according to plan. There needs to be a problem. With this type of story, often the problem is, how do they get home? Okay, there'll be some kind of difficulty. It might be that you needed a certain key to get through or something like that, and that gets stolen from you. It might be that someone or something captures you and won't let you go, and so you can't get home. But this brings in a certain element of adventure into your story as well, and some adversity that you need to triumph over. It would be brilliant if this section could also include dialogue. So think about, is there going to be a conversation? Who is the conversation going to be with? And how will it be resolved? And this comes on to your final part of the story, where the problem has been overcome. You are able to get back home, and you need to think about how you actually feel about that. Is it relief? Is it sadness? Are you able to go back? If you're able to go back, this could be the first story in a number of stories that you write about this fantasy land. It might be that it's a one-off and you can never go back, and you spend the rest of your life regretting the fact that you can never go back. All of this needs to be planned today. You need to think carefully about how your story is going to go. The best stories written, generally, they're not made up as you go along. The writer knows where the story's going, what the problem will be, how it's going to end before they even start it. And that helps them to actually write a cohesive story that holds the reader's attention all the way through. So today, the planning stage is absolutely vital. Hopefully you'll do well on it. As I said before, you've got quite a long time to produce this piece of work. It is a piece of work we gave to children last year in the first national lockdown, and we had some hugely inventive stories, some really impressive pieces. And so we wanted to do it again because we want to give you the same chance to impress us with your storytelling. Good luck.